The Magnavox Odyssey was the first ever video game console. There are actually 93 different platforms that have been in circulation since the beginning of the video game era. By far, the greatest of these is the Nintendo Switch. In this speech, I will introduce factual comparisons between other top selling gaming consoles like the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. That shows how the Switch is actually the best gaming console out there. Um, so, my topic's important for those that are looking to purchase a gaming console or want to get a new gaming console. And my main points in this speech will include things like the franchises that are involved, the hardware of the Nintendo Switch, and the system functionality. So, my first body paragraph is dealing with franchises and the history of Nintendo. So, the first reason the Nintendo Switch is the best gaming console is because of the franchises it owns. Um, so, I'll start with a little background on Nintendo and where they've come, and then I'll tell you a little more about the franchises. Nintendo was originally a manufacturer of playing cards named Fuzihiro Yamauchi that adopted its new title in 1951. Their first game was released in the form of an arcade machine, Donkey Kong. This featured a hero named Jumpman attempting to save his girlfriend Pauline from a raging gorilla. We all know where the story changed from there. Nintendo did not release its first console, the NES or the Nintendo Entertainment System, until 1985 with its first title, Super Mario Bros., which featured Mario, which we know is actually a reincarnation of Jumpman. This was and still is Nintendo's staple franchise. According to Karen Piccolo of The Gamer, Nintendo owns 3 of the top 15 grossing franchises of all time. Number 6 being the Wii franchise, number 3 being the Pokemon franchise, and number 1 being obviously the legendary Super Mario franchise. A huge reason for this being such a big deal compared to other consoles is that Nintendo makes their own games as well as the consoles, whereas Xbox and PlayStation are both console makers. Yes, PlayStation or Xbox has an exclusive games like Halo, but they don't mass produce games like Nintendo does. And so if you want these incredibly popular titles that only Nintendo sells, then you have to buy a Nintendo console. So that's what makes them special. Whereas Nintendo does have a lot of games that are on Xbox and on PlayStation. Games like Overwatch are coming to the Switch, stuff like that. Next up is we'll be talking about the hardware. The Nintendo Switch has capabilities that have revolutionized gaming forever, and here are a few of those. So the Switch has the ability to go from a handheld device to a console that is playable on a monitor or a TV in a matter of seconds. This means playing in the car or in the house is possible on the same device, which has never been done before by any other company. The Joy-Cons are the controllers, and they're the key to making this whole thing possible. While holding down, there's a little button on the back of the Joy-Cons, and when you press them, you can just slide them off the device. Super easy. And if they're in the little dock, so you put the Switch in the dock and you take the Joy-Cons off, and then it's in console mode. If it's hooked up to your TV, you're ready to go. And so this process also makes it easier to sync other controllers, to link controllers to your Switch. If you get more Joy-Cons, you can just slide them in and they're linked. You just take them back out, and now you have 2 players in console mode, or 4, because the Joy-Cons now have the ability to be turned sideways. And so with 2 sets of Joy-Cons, you can actually be playing with 4 people. So that's another really cool ability that the Switch has given us. And so more of these innovations can actually be seen on the Nintendo website. I don't have time to cover all of them, obviously. And so lastly, the system functionality. So the Switch has the ability to join actually a maximum of 8 players together, so you can fit 4 pairs of Joy Cons. Um, and some people, especially like professionals, are not a fan of Joy Cons because they've played on other controllers their whole life. And so there's actually pro controllers that are very similar to PlayStation, Xbox type controllers. Um, Much better for that kind of high quality gaming and stuff like that. So you do have the option of getting those as well. And you can also link old fashioned GameCube controllers because a lot of people use those for games like Super Smash Brothers and stuff like that. So there's a wide range of connection for these controllers. So they can join up to 8 players on one console. Um, and so some people kind of say, well, I like Xbox because, yes, you can only play with 2 people. That's right, 2 people on one console, but you can play online. Um, but the thing with the Switch is you have 8 people that you can play with. And so if you don't want to pay for the online and you want to just pay with people you have, you can do that. Um, while the PlayStation and the Xbox advertise their online accounts. And so that costs a lot more money to have to pay for online for a year or however long you pay for it. To have to pay for that. Where Nintendo still has that online, they give you that opportunity still. It's not necessary to play, and they don't advertise it that way. A lot of times, they kind of push their online part, and they're like, "We want you to spend more money on us." Where Nintendo and all their advertisements, it's all look like we're spending time with our family or we're at a party and we're playing these games, um, which is a very fun, very enjoyable part about the Switch. Uh, and so also, they give you the opportunity not to spend as much money because of having that online thing. Um, and so, for the conclusion, um, according to data collected by an organization called Super Data, um, Samuel Afolabi of Tech Collector tells us that Call of Duty has officially been outsold as the highest single grossing game of all time by a new game called Animal Crossing's New Horizons. So I'll let you guys take a guess at who created Animal Crossings. Um, and it actually is, in fact, Nintendo. So they've officially outsold Call of Duty with this new game that a lot of you probably don't even know. I've learned about it very recently, but they've finally done it. So that's adds to the reasoning for them being the most the greatest gaming system of all time. Thank you.